Alright, so I know that I'm very late to the party, only because I just kind of put off watching this for a while, but I just bought and watched the How to Train Your Dragon live action. I'm gonna start off by saying overall the movie was okay. Compared to any other live action, it was definitely better than those, but it was still very soulless. Alright, I've been calling it a soulless cash grab since I saw the trailer, and I still stand by that. As far as the scenes go, the sound effects were not that great, most of them. A lot of them, they honestly just ripped from the original movie, which, specifically, in the original, he hits a rock, falls. In this one, he hits a tree, kinda falls, and then hits another tree. See, the problem with that isn't that they ripped the sound. The problem with it is that in the original, he hit a rock. In this one, he hit a tree. Rocks and trees do not sound the same when you hit them. And it also, in the original, there was way more force put into the rock that he hit rather than the tree, so it just didn't sound right when you looked at it. It looked like bad editing, honestly. Other than that, all the other rip sound effects were fine, but that one really threw me off.
What the hell was this? Bro. They literally ripped the sound from the animated and didn't even line it up correctly. I'm sorry.
As far as the actors go, I talked about this in the video where I complaining about the trailer. The twins. Roughnut said that that their mother can't even tell them apart, and I had to pause it and laugh because I'm sorry, listen, I'm not the person to body shame or like fat shame or whatever, okay? But Roughnut in this movie is fat, Toughnut is not. My ass that she can't tell you two apart. Maybe if you guys actually looked like twins and were the same weight, then that's one thing, but not in this movie. Apart from that, the actors, most of their lines were just delivered horribly. Even Hiccup's lines weren't great. Astrid was very, I did not like how they made her character. In the first movie, in the original, she was just kind of like a tough, hard ass, badass, just kind of kept to herself. In this one, she was just a straight up asshole. Not only to Hiccup, but to everybody else. The arena scenes, I mean, she just kind of acted like she did in the original for the most part. One thing that I particularly didn't like was when fighting the Natter, fighting Stormfly, whatever, when Snotlout throws the mace and misses. In the original, it actually, you could tell what was going on, and Stormfly actually laughed afterwards. In this one, it was like so quick that unless you've watched the movie about 500 times, you wouldn't have caught it, and Stormfly didn't have any reaction whatsoever, which kind of bothered me because all of the dragons had absolutely zero personality whatsoever, which, yes, in the first movie they didn't have that much personality, but they had more than what was shown, and they weren't treated like dogs. Like, Hiccup straight up treated Toothless like a fucking dog in this movie, and it drove me up the wall all the way until the end. The romantic flight scene also bothered me because in the first one you could actually slowly start to see Astrid changing her mind about dragons and changing her mind about Hiccup. In this one, she didn't even hug him, and then was just like, whatever. Didn't really say anything about how dragons are. She just kind of was like, okay, whatever. As far as the other actors go, Snotlout, I kind of like that they included Spitelout and Snotlout's relationship a little bit in this one, even though it wasn't portrayed at all in the first movie, but like, I guess that was fine. One thing that really bothered me was the fact that they included the Skrill and the Rumble Horn in this one. The Skrill, whatever, that's fine, because in the first movie you see in the Book of Dragons that they knew about Skrills at that point, but the Rumble Horn, they didn't. The Rumble Horn wasn't even discovered until Race to the Edge, and we know this because in a quote in that episode, Gobber straight up said,
Rumble Horn? What's a Rumble Horn?
They didn't know what that was. It wasn't in the Book of Dragons, sure, but you see it a couple times in the movie. So, like, if the rumble horn was around Burke at that time, they would have put it in the Book of Dragons, or they would have at least known what it was at that point, but they didn't. They shouldn't have, because again, it wasn't discovered until later. Another thing that also really annoyed me was the Book of Dragons scene was horrible. Like, it was just terrible. It really bothered me that Gobber said something along the lines of, all of us have put stuff in the pages of the Book of Dragons, which is not true whatsoever. We learn in, I think, Riders of Burke that Gobber's great-grandfather, Bork the Bold, is the one who wrote the Book of Dragons by himself. I also don't understand why there was, like, I guess all the Vikings that came to Burke were from different tribes and different islands, which is not how that went at all in the first movie. They weren't all from different areas. They were all one race. They all looked roughly the same, like similar hair colors, all white. I don't think anybody had brown eyes in any of the movies, actually, now that I think about it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not gonna touch about the characters' designs really that much because I complained about that in the trailer. I still stand by that. As far as the dragons designs go, Toothless, he looked okay. Again, I had touched on this in the trailer, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it. Hook Fang was fine. Stormfly and the Gronkle, I didn't like them very much. They looked horrible. Barf and Belch, they looked okay. The Red Death, I still stand by looking burnt chicken, if you remember what I said.
It looks like burnt chicken, alright?
Well, another thing that bothered me is that during the Red Death fight, Fish Legs called Meatlug girl, which, I mean, to a lot of people that would just be, okay, yeah, because Meatlug's a female, but if you've watched everything, in Gift of the Night Fury, that's when Fish Legs found out that Meatlug was in fact a female and not a male, because Fish Legs thought that Meatlug was a male until then, and Gift of the Night Fury obviously came after the first movie, so that kind of annoyed me a little bit too, as well as the melting mind control kind of thing with the Red Death. That wasn't a thing. The Red Death didn't do that. The Bewildered Beast did that. If you're gonna, recreate the dragons and recreate the movie, don't give the dragons traits that they don't actually have. As well as in the animated movie, when Hiccup first blew up, Astrid was getting stuck in by the Red Death. In this one, the Red Death bit down on Stormfly's tail, and then Astrid jumped into the Red Death's mouth, and then jumped out or fell out. I didn't like that because it was completely different, and then we also got gypped of another shot from Toothless, which there was like no fire in this movie whatsoever, which annoyed the shit out of me. As well as when they were flying in the animated, Hiccup took on role of chief by directing them on what to do, where to go, stuff like that. In this one, Astrid stole all of his lines for that, and that really fucking pissed me off because they kind of betrayed Hiccup as staying this useless kid. I didn't like it because, in the animated, he was useless at the start and then progressed into being strong and independent and a leader. Not in this one. They just kind of said, oh yeah, you ride a dragon now, but you're still not a leader. We're still gonna have Astrid lead the, I hated that so much. The Red Death fight, it was okay. It was way too short, and I didn't like how they kind of gypped. This is what I mean by the sound effects sucked, because in the animated we had a lot of cool dragon-like sound effects, like Hiccup's, like Toothless's charged up plasma blast sound. Not in this one, we just had blazing fire sounds, and then when Toothless shot the fireball down the Red Death's throat, again, we had a really cool sound effect in the animated, and in this one it sucked, and then the Red Death just crashed. The only thing that I can say that was better about the Red Death fight than the original was the fact that you could actually see the holes in the Red Death's wings, and the wings actually tearing, like when he opened them, or she, whatever. That's the only thing about that I can say was better. Other than that, the movie just wasn't that great. I mean, again, soulless cash grab. I know that they're making another one, and they're probably gonna make one for the third too, but I wish they'd just leave it alone. Leave the masterpiece alone. It wasn't gonna die anytime soon. People, including me, are still making edits left and right every day. The movie's never gonna die. Why ruin it? It doesn't even it's not even that good for people who have never seen How to Train Your Dragon, because they cut out a lot of stuff that just made it not make sense. Like, one thing that I've seen a lot of people complain about is they completely cut the entire scene of when Toothless and Hiccup landed on an island and the Terrible Terrors flew down, and it showed where Toothless shot a tiny fireball into the Terrible Terrors throat, and Hiccup said, "Not so fireproof on the inside." If you're somebody that's never watched How to Train Your Dragon and you go into it just blindly watching this one, you're not gonna understand why the fuck Toothless shot a fireball down the Red Death's throat, because it doesn't make sense unless you've seen the very first one, the animated one. That's why that scene is there. It's an important scene for people who have never seen it because it explains that. And a lot of the other things, it's just nobody had personality. None of the actors had soul or personality. None of the lines were delivered right. Every single line was changed somehow. I can't recall one line that was the same. It was just, it was, like I said, it was okay. Not that great, but yeah, it's not something that I'm gonna watch again. And it's definitely not something that I'm gonna make edits on because it was just not that great. Hopefully the next one will be better, but I highly doubt it. I just know it's not going to be. So I know that a lot of people liked it. I didn't. If you're a hard fan like me, you're not gonna like it, most likely. And that's how I felt about it. I just felt that it was very lacking and that it just didn't have any soul or passion into it whatsoever. It was just terrible. That's my thought. You can leave yours in the comments. Again, if you think differently, that's you, that's not me. Sorry about it, but that's just how I'm thinking. Anyways, bye.